All praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first in everything we do and say. This stream is brought to you by L.I.V.E. products. L.I.V.E. Live now. We're live now. Franklin Leonard, he interviewed Abdi and DeLuca, co-chairs and CEOs of Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group. It was an hour-long conversation about power, taste, fear, and the future of film. Here's an excerpt. I think it pretty much sums up everything that should have happened with Warner Brothers and something that Damien Anton Vincent, shout out to Damien Anton Vincent, said. Damien Anton Vincent said, we should never have had DC Studios. Everything in Warner Brothers should have been under Abdi and DeLuca, Warner Brothers Pictures. And to be honest with you, the work they did on cleaning up Black Adam really should have been commendable, because Black Adam came out more of a solid film than I think any other DCEU project and even DCU project so far. And even though it flopped, it was a much more solid story. Also, much more serious a tone than what we got. It's still a corny dialogue, but than what we've got so far. But here's what they have to say concerning Warner Brothers and their content. Listen carefully.
If you act like that, Pam and I truly believe, for better or worse, you can't do our jobs, or even the jobs below our jobs, where you're a gatekeeper for material and curating what gets brought up for greenlight consideration. You cannot do the job like you're afraid to get fired. Because if you act like that, innovation dies. You're just doing the job to protect yourself, and you end up making the same movie over and over again, and the consumer moves on. Pam and I truly believe, for better or worse, you can't do our jobs, or even the jobs below our jobs, where you're a gatekeeper for material and curating what gets brought up for greenlight consideration. You cannot do the job like you're afraid to get fired. Because if you act like that, innovation dies. You're just doing the job to protect yourself, and you end up making the same movie over and over again, and the consumer moves on.
That's very insightful. And we were talking about art versus manufactured products in the last stream. If you haven't seen the last stream, go check it out. Also, if you guys are watching this video right now, do understand also that you can speed up the video at the end of the stream. So if you don't have time to go watch the stream today, that's okay. I'm sorry that I can't put this out on. I'm not going to share the stream. You're just going to have to find me. So today I'm not going to curse and swear and all of that. I'm just going to be more analytical about things. Abdi and DeLuca are 100% correct. The executives in Warner Brothers cannot be afraid to lose their jobs. This is about not trying to put content in a box and play it safe. You cannot play it safe with movie making. You have to allow the artists to do their art, and it is an art, even though it's more like business now. The business side seems to be taking over the art side. And what you end up with is generic stories like Superman, like Aquaman 2, like Blue Beetle, like The Flash, like Shazam 2, like Wonder Woman 2, like The Suicide Squad, like Birds of Prey. You end up with that. Even Black Adam but it wasn't as manufactured. It was manufactured, but. And the point I'm making about these things is that they're probably the only people who are successful in Warner Brothers when it comes to picture making. They put out Sinners, Weapon, Minecraft this year, all successful movies. There was another one. I can't remember what it is. So they put out 4 successful movies this year, original content and video game content, so on. And that's because they allowed the directors to follow their vision and put onto the screen what counts. And they poured money into those projects. F1 It's still in the flop category. I think it's now, I think it and, if I'm not mistaken, it and Superman are around about the same in value. Superman right now stands at $599 million. So it has probably crossed 600 million Friday, because this is up to Thursday. I think this was domestic and international. So up to Thursday this week, the Kume was 343 million or 344 million roughly domestically, and internationally it's at 599 million. So I'm pretty sure Friday's the total went past 600. Now it went past six. This is more something you would think of F1 doing. This is not good for Superman. It's not supposed to even be that low. Superman should have been somewhere around 900 and something million right about now, but it's probably crossed 600 million right about this point in time. The equivalent of Man of Steel was somewhere around, when you account for inflation, 800 and high 800s, 890 something million. So it was like 300 million more. So Man of Steel, was a very successful film of its time. And people, of course, Warner Brothers Studio didn't realize that you don't start a franchise with $1 billion. They was thinking it was going to be $1 billion movie or whatever. And you don't start a franchise with $1 billion. And so the box office that happened for Man of Steel was overestimated, It ended up being a very good movie, and a very memorable movie. People remember it to this day. At least DC fans do. And I was listening to a radio announcer on one of my local stations talk about how he prefers Man of Steel to Superman, and that Warner Bros. Might have to seriously relook their franchise and maybe have to reboot that again, which he might be very correct, because if you're starting off a franchise this way, and this is your tentpole in which you're going to expand your franchise, and then you want to do Supergirl next, and Supergirl, you introduce Supergirl in the most controversial way possible. I don't think Supergirl is going to do well. I think your franchise is going to, the universe is already dead on arrival. And I've heard Sean Rook say this. I've heard a number of different people say this. So, and yesterday I was so angry at the fact that the studio could have done so much better if it would just listen and take feedback from the fans and just do what they said. I don't understand why a studio, I think the people in the industry are either they're mentally retarded or something, or they think of it as insulting for them to listen to the fans and actually do what they're suggesting and go with the demand for something. I don't understand it, because quite frankly, if I'm selling something and somebody gives me feedback on it, I consider the feedback. Yes, I don't have to do everything they say. But if people have a burning desire, I'm going to tell you again, Deadpool has been so successful because fans always wanted Deadpool. They wanted to write Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds did them right, and he's got 3 Deadpool movies now, and every single one of them has made money. It's made money, okay, for the studio. So why, oh, why, oh, why would you ever not listen to fans? And you can create narratives. Oh, these fans that are speaking are in the minority, and you can make up narratives so that you can have your own way. But at the end of the day, you should listen to the fans. Why did you have to wait? I think with the Richard Donner cut, it was 40 years after Richard Donner had done Superman 2, they were trying to do something. That's too late, and it's still not Richard Donner's cut. Studios need to be more adaptive, more flexible. This is not a time in history where you want to be dropping the ball like that. All the old school ways of doing things, no. I have subscribers. If my subscribers pay me to do a certain amount of content on certain things, once it's not against my morals and ethics, I would produce that content for them, because it's a dialogue. It's a dialogue. And if they're willing to pay you to have a certain amount of content that they want to see, then you do it. You can still continue your programs, whatever programs it is, and your ideas and visions for whatever you want to do with your content. It's your content. It's your company. But at the same time, you should be receptive. You should be reflexive. You should be elastic enough to understand. Okay, things change. This is what the fan base. This is what the fans want. You know. But what we get at Warner Brothers and what we get in Hollywood specifically is a bunch of people who do not want to bow down to anyone. They want to say, I'm in control. And that's sad because a little humility would allow these content makers and content creators and content people to listen. You know how long the Marvel fans have been saying what they're saying about Marvel content? That's why they stopped paying into Marvel. That's why Fantastic Four flopped at the box office. It's because the people have been talking to the studios. They've been suggesting to the studios the things they want to see. We're not there to tell you how to make movies. That's not our forte. Fans don't know how to make movies, and we're not trying to tell you how to make a movie. What we're telling you is this is the content we want to see. With this actor, we want more of this. If fans are telling you, if somebody, and business in general, if somebody's telling you, I want more of this, can you get more of this? I am someone who sells drinks, okay? Some of my fastest selling drinks are Morby. They are a lime, okay? Morby and lime. Now, I'd be a stupid ass fool if I realize this is so, and I say, nah, I'm not going to stock up on Morby and lime. I'm going to try and sell off the other things. Morby and lime's a given. That's stupid. You make more Morby and lime for the more demand and supply. So, Superman's not doing great at all. Never mind what other people are saying. Its international box office is still abysmal. Its domestic box office is not bad at all, but this is all grinding to a halt. So, as you can see, the movie is now making under $1 million per day. I guess Friday over the weekend, it would go to almost $1 million, but it won't get there. Saturday might get a little higher. Maybe it'd be the last $1 million day you'll ever get. And this movie's pretty much done. If it makes 5 million more to whatever it has made, it'll have done more than enough. So this movie's going to stop off, just like Jurassic World, as I said before, was never going to make $1 billion. This movie is going to stop at 600, maybe 605, maybe 610 million. But it's about to wrap up. It's about over. Okay. It took a very, very long time. I think it took about 4 weeks, 5 weekends. This will be the 5th weekend to get to $600 billion. So it's wound down. It's done its thing. Right now they're trying to do digital output, and the digital output's not doing that great. It has dropped yet another place to position number 9. I think it was at position 7, so it dropped 2 places to position number 9 in the worldwide grossings right now. So it's not doing that great also. I told you it's mainly, I listen to people talk about the fandom is divided. The fandom is not divided, really. You have some fans, they're in the minority, who like what James Gunn did with Superman. But the majority of fans are not interested in that movie, haven't gone to see that movie, and as a result, that's why ticket prices are where they're at. You know? So let's get to it. And you remember I talked to you about Denzel Washington, old Hollywood. You had to be good, all that. So I told you guys it's the executives, not the average DC fan, that hates Snyder and Nolan, and the negativity that you see coming from is actually from the executives of Warner Brothers. It's not really from fans. And people like to say it's a divided fandom. It's not really a divided fandom. And yes, executives can be fans, but the minority of them, the minority of these people are generally, as I said before, people who work at Warner Brothers. And I'm not the only one that pointed this out. Harsh critics did. Um, and there's even an article out there on that. So it is what it is. Um, I talked about Free Palestine for a bit, and there is a few things I want to say about Free Palestine. First, I just wanted you guys to pay attention to Rav. Said gun butts are so desperate that now they're trying to paint the Hamadaverse that we all always hated and they enjoyed as the Snyderverse. As we all know, the Snyderverse is the first set of movies. You're talking about Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, and Zack Snyder Justice League. The Snyderverse is really not anything else. If David Ayer gets his cut, that would be part of the Snyderverse. But that's basically the Snyderverse, right? And the other stuff is part of the DCEU, but it's not part of the Snyderverse. No matter how much people may claim it is. So let's go into Free Palestine. There's something I wanted to show you really quickly before I move on. So as you can see, Superman is right now position number 10 in the worldwide chart rankings. See if I can find it. All right. Megyn Kelly thinks starving, stateless, friendless Palestinians living in rubble in Gaza are better at producing propaganda than Vladimir Putin, the Russian state, and FSB. These are the top minds in the modern right now. She's arguing that, it's all propaganda that Hamas is trying to share, Palestinians are trying to share about what's actually happening in Palestine, which is further from the truth because we actually get to see the actual clips and stuff. So Netanyahu finally said the quiet part out loud. Even if Hamas accepts a ceasefire, Israel still plans to take Gaza. Once Zionists are done silencing us, they'll start criminalizing clothing. For the record, that's not even a cafe. The meltdown. Here's CBC News reporter Margaret Evans, not even pretending anymore. I despise the anti-Israel bias everywhere, but I generally don't think that's a cafe. Perhaps not, but don't they have producers, etc., to make sure that there's no way that on-air personalities wear anything resembling a cafe? What is wrong with these people? And this is the same sort of weird mindset that you see in the executives of Warner Brothers. It's the same weird, I must control everything, I must control you, you cannot get what you need. The people are, again, telling their governments and people responsible in power and authority, listen, we don't like this, we don't want this. And we need you to pull out of this. And instead, they're doubling down on it. So that is the problem. The problem is ego and saying, you're not us and you're not one of us, your life doesn't matter. And, you need to go away. Yusuf Munier says, how bad do you think the horrors are in Gaza? The reality of the genocide is so much worse. We're just scratching the surface, grasping the depth and scale of Israel's crimes there.
According to the UN, hundreds of Palestinians have been shot and killed by Israel Defense Forces and foreign military contractors at or near GHF aid sites. We spoke to a new eyewitness who concurs. He told us it's not only the IDF shooting, but also personnel hired through American subcontractors to secure GHF sites.
I thought I was going there to help people.
When this man was hired by an American logistics company to drive aid trucks in Israel, he says he had no idea it meant he'd be working with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation inside Gaza. He asked us to conceal his identity, dub over his voice, and change his name because he fears reprisals. We will call him Mike. He secretly recorded several videos, including this one. What you are hearing, he says, is the sound of gunfire from brightly lit GHF sites fired at Palestinians seeking aid.
It took me 2 or 3 days to realize that they were actually shooting at people. They weren't shooting at combatants.
So, did you think these were warning shots?
No, it's indiscriminate.
And who was doing the shooting?
The IDF and the American security personnel. They've got positions on each corner of the sites, and they would often shoot at exactly the same time as the Israeli soldiers.
We do not see who is shooting on the videos Mike gave us, but he said there was not a single occasion he observed when there was no shooting, and he was at the sites on average 5 days a week for several weeks. CBS News has seen his work schedule, and metadata from his cell phone confirms the dates and times he was in Gaza. CBS News has been reporting on the almost daily shootings and deaths at or near GHF sites since GHF began operating its sites at the end of May. Palestinians would gather near the sites hours before they opened to be the first to grab food.
I was breathing quite heavily because I'd never seen a crowd of people behave with such intensity and such desperation.
What's the worst thing you experienced?
I was brought outside the perimeter and I was tasked with cleaning up the remains of animals and some humans. What had happened is that there had been so much shooting that human remains had been left there and the smell got quite bad. So the security contractors had complained and the IDF said it wasn't their business. So I was tasked with cleaning it, but I wasn't warned what it was.
And you were told to clean up everything there and do what?
Just put it in the back of a truck, which took everything away. I struggle to talk about it. I even feel a bit clammy, and I can feel my chest beating harder. I just shut down, really.
Over 1,800 Palestinians have died trying to get food, more than 1,000 near GHF sites, according to the UN's Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. GHF says allegations that their contractors have shot aid seekers and mishandled their remains are categorically false and utterly baseless. They have criticized CBS News' refusal to provide them with more detailed information regarding Mike. Mike said that some of the Americans hired to secure the GHF sites made him feel uncomfortable.
They would often boast about how many people they've killed if they've managed to shoot animals, or how many birds they'd shot because they were bragging about how good their aim was.
So if they would shoot anything?
Anything that was living, even birds.
Mike is home now and won't be going back. Why are you doing this?
It just wouldn't sit right with me if I didn't say something. These atrocities don't have to happen.
GHF told CBS News that their contractors do not fire on civilians, nor they say has anyone been killed by gunfire at a GHF site, not even within sight of a foundation site. And they say they have never encountered any situation involving unclaimed bodies at or near their sites. The IDF categorically denied allegations that it deliberately fires at Palestinian civilians, but told CBS News it is investigating recent reports of harm to civilians, and any violations will result in further action.
Deborah Patta in London. Thank you.
So after 20 years of service in the military, yesterday I got pulled into an officer's office and counseled for a post that I have on my social media. During the counseling, they told me I'm under investigation as a threat to national security. When I asked for proof, like what the posts were yesterday, they refused to give it to me. They made me come back today to further go over stuff. They gave me the proof, and the proof they gave me are anti-Israel posts. Now, when I joined the military, I took an allegiance to support the United States of America. I did not ever take an allegiance to support Israel. But yet, I am deemed a threat to national security because I do not support Israel and their genocide against the Palestinian people. Yes, you heard that right. I am deemed a threat to national security because I don't support Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. Since when does not supporting a foreign nation get a U.S. soldier investigated for being a threat to national security?
To be provisionally recognized as an independent state, a state for everyone, a single state for all the people on that land, not a state for a particular racial group. So the idea, and Israel is a Jewish state by definition, and there is no legal basis for a specifically Jewish state on that land in international law.
What could have been for Ben Affleck Batman solo movie?
Do you seriously believe all this woke stuff is new now? It's not. If you go back 100 years, Berlin in the 1920s was broke. Families starving and money was worthless. Poverty was so bad that women were forced into schmeksh work just to survive. The whole city was known for nightlife and chaos. On top of that, you had institutions, writing books on smexuality, even doing the first transgender surgeries. Some of those ideas even made it to youth programs and progressive schools. Sounding familiar? Then in 1933, the Yazidis burned all of these books. But here's what no one tells you. Christian books had already been destroyed all around Europe long before that, and it was millions and millions of more books being burned. The victors of history pick what survives and what you're allowed to remember. So when you look around today and you see the LGBTQ debates, gender studies and kids being exposed, it's the same forces and the same patterns, just a new generation. If you don't know history, then you won't see what's really happening. If you think this is all random, you're not paying attention. The same ones pushing it then are pushing it now. So make sure to share so more people can see what's actually going on.
They said the age of heroes would never come again. I just need some space. I just need some space. I just need some space. I just need some space.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. I did my best. It wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth. I didn't come to fool you. And though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah.
Guy's probably fought hundreds of thousands of other super beings on the other planets he's destroyed, right? And you have to assume he's won.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. Never fought us. Got us united.
All right, guys, DC's got decades of iconic characters, but we need to figure out who should be the face of the franchise.
Yeah, the most iconic one we've got.
Yeah, Peacemaker. Perfect. So I'm thinking we give Peacemaker a whole season. Let's make it like 8 episodes. Everyone's happy. More Peacemaker. Now, next up, Mortal Kombat would like to do a crossover with DC. So we're going to give them one of our iconic characters. I'm thinking maybe we go with Batman.
Peacemaker?
Yeah, Peacemaker. Right, of course. Sorry. He's the obvious choice. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, obvious choice.
Obvious choice. So this is really exciting. We're launching a new DC cinematic universe for DCU. I'm thinking we kick things off with the Superman movie.
What?
Oh, but with a Peacemaker cameo, obviously. With a Peacemaker cameo?
Oh, obviously.
You know, by this point, we've kicked off the universe, but it feels like we're overdue for more Peacemaker. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, how are we going to expand the universe?
Yeah, we haven't had any Peacemaker for ages. It's getting unsettling. Second season of Peacemaker, non-negotiable, obviously.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. I'll put it there. Great. So next up, comics division. We've got the Absolute Superman coming out. We're all very excited about it, but nobody can figure out who the villain should be. Does anybody have any suggestions?
Peacemaker.
Is it enough, though?
What could you possibly mean?
What if the main villain is multiple Peacemakers?
Exactly. But, like, obviously, Christopher Smith is the main Peacemaker.
Love what you're putting down, guys. This is going straight in an email. All right, last thing, HBO called. They want to reboot Friends.
What if Peacemaker is one of the friends?
What if Peacemaker is all of the friends?
How would they do that?
CGI, John Cena plays them all. Son of a bitch, it's genius. Hey, call HBO right now. We need to get this greenlit ASAP.
The pebbles and rock. But in the dark, among the stars, the god is dead.
I had a dream. Almost like a premonition. Almost like a premonition. I think there's an attack coming.
My lord, this world will fall.
I need warriors. I'm building an alliance to defend ourselves.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at it.
You were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes you the rest of your life, find out what that reason is.
They said the age of heroes will never come again.
It will. It has to. We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman.
I asked a simple question. Why is BlackRock allowed to buy single community notes, went out of their way to post that I was wrong on their timeline? And then I learned that this was a big deal to BlackRock. Like, they're paying for this search result. And they want to make it perfectly clear that BlackRock is not buying individual houses in the US. So then I thought, let me look a little bit deeper into this. Now, with community notes, BlackRock does not buy homes. This post is likely referring to Blackstone, which does buy homes. Blackstone is the world's largest asset manager, a financial firm that manages over $1 trillion in assets and was founded in 1985. So I reposted community notes and I asked Grok if BlackRock and Blackstone have any common origins and who the three largest institutional investors are in Blackstone. And according to Grok, yes, BlackRock and Blackstone share common origins. BlackRock was founded in 1988 as Blackstone Financial Management, a subsidiary of Blackstone, and became independent in 1994 after Blackstone sold its stake to PNC. As of 2025, the top three institutional investors in Blackstone are Vanguard and BlackRock, who owns 51 million shares of the company. Oh, you silly peasant. It's just 51 million shares, which, okay, is about 6% of the company. And Vanguard owns about another 10%. But when you put that together, it gives them a lot of leverage over the board and the CEO. And I think this simple question getting 2 million views and clearly being viewed as threatening to big financial institutions touched on something deeper, that the American people are fed up, that the rules and regulations all seem structured to benefit Wall Street. Because the housing market is not a free market. It's fiat currency and government-backed loans. It's the institution that caused the 2008 financial collapse, and the banks that were bailed out by you and me. And you and I and our children shouldn't have to get into a bidding war with Blackstone to buy our single-family home. And this is why I write books on the history of the banking system. How information is controlled, fake news, our rights, how systems are corrupted, and how to live free. Because our kids deserve better. ClassicalLearner.com. And by the way, community notes, BlackRock is allowed to buy single-family homes. So you were wrong, just for the record. I made no claims, but you did when you said they don't buy homes. According to their own website, they buy multifamily homes and apartment complexes. You should give yourself a community note.
Form up on me. Yes, Commander, on you. Target those drop ships.
Yes, Commander, on you.
Blackout squadron, take those fighters.
Why am I so different from them? Earth's sun is younger and brighter than Krypton's was. Your cells have drunk in its radiation, strengthening your muscles, your skin, your senses. Earth's gravity is weaker, yet its atmosphere is more nourishing. You've grown stronger here than I ever could have imagined. The only way to know how strong is to keep testing your limits. give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you. They will stumble. They will fall. But in time, they will join you when the sun comes. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders.
How do you find someone who has spent a lifetime covering his...
I just screamed "Free Palestine" and images of Jews being burned. You feel good about yourself? Palestine always. So do you support terrorism? I support Palestine. Thank you, bro. Do you think Zionists should be killed on the streets? Yes. Okay, wow. All right, great. FBI, look into this motherfucker. Hamas footage from October 7th. Look what they're doing.
Hamas. Free Palestine. Fuck Israel. Free Palestine. Hamas. I really don't give a fuck. We love what you're doing. We love what you're doing, Hamas. They need to keep doing it.
The people of the IDF. No. Look at what the people they killed.
If they're killing Israelis, I don't care. Free Palestine.
That's how you want to end this? Free Palestine? Free Palestine in front of this image of dead Jews. Really?
Free Palestine.
Really? Free Palestine in front of the images of 2 Jews that were killed.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine till I die.
In front of this image
Free
of dead
Palestine.
Jews.
Free
Do you know how that makes you look on camera? Zionists. Inbred idiots. I don't care what a settle your ass.
Look at this anti-Semitic.
It's against the state of Israel. Settlers, white supremacy state. Are you anti-Israel?
I am.
Okay.
West is not fucking civilized. West is run by war criminals, murderers, thieves, and pedophiles. And if we, the people, were as barbaric and uncivilized as our leaders, we would have hung them in the streets by now, and they know it. That's why they put such an emphasis on the peaceful part of protests, because they never want to pay for their evil, disgusting, horrendous crimes. In the West, our leaders are people who exploit other human beings in order to make more money. Our so-called leaders do things like commit genocide in Gaza so they can steal land and natural gas so that they can make money. Our so-called leaders are people who enslave other human beings in the Congo so they can steal their resources and make money. Our leaders are fucking gross, dude.
小红书.
So I thought I would share that with you guys before I get to stepping. You guys need to understand that, you know, in this world today, in order to achieve what you need to achieve as a collective, you need to stand, maintain your position, and continue to put pressure on those who are responsible for taking charge and directing things in the right way. I am Christ, I am disciple. You guys have a good